state is reeling. There is real panic, not just because of Comey, not just because of Brennan, but because of the Supreme Court decision. Okay, this is major. The Supreme Court coming out yesterday, we talked about this live on the show and saying, you know what, you can make the cuts that you want to the Trump administration because they wanted to have really big budget cuts and they're going to be able to get them. So you had Letitia James saying, no, you can't do that. That's against the law. And SCOTUS said, you know what? He can do it. He can do it. More winning. Wow.
Breaking moments ago, the Supreme Court with a decision that will allow the Trump administration to move ahead with their plans to cut the federal workforce, at least for now. Justice correspondent David Spott, give us the backstory here, reporting live from Washington. Hi, David.
Hi, Martha. A nice Tuesday afternoon win for the Trump administration. And it's funny because the justices normally are on their summer recess right now. Doesn't mean they don't work behind the scenes, but these justices have been busy because of these executive orders and the way they've made their way through the legal process. But this right now is a order from the Supreme Court essentially saying that a San Francisco judge who put a stop to the Trump administration from cutting several federal agencies, they're saying that the Trump administration, in fact, right now can continue forward as the case plays out on its merits. So essentially back in May, several different agencies sued. They said that the Trump administration wanted to make cuts at the Departments of Agriculture, Commerce, Defense, Energy, Health and Human Services, Homeland Security, HUD, Justice, Labor, State Treasury, and Transportation, pretty much all of them. Now the Supreme Court is giving the Trump administration victory some almost 6 months into the president's second term here, saying that they can go forward with these reductions in forces. You may remember that this was part of the DOGE effort when Elon Musk was still hanging out around the White House. But President Trump today, Martha, during the cabinet meeting said that some of those DOGE moves made sense, were important, and this was a campaign promise and a promise really of this presidency to cut some of these federal agencies. And now this administration can feel vindicated from the Supreme Court as they move forward and make some of these cuts, Martha.
Yeah.
They get to happen after all. It's like he just keeps winning every single round here. Whether it be, I want to deport the 532,000 people from Nicaragua, Cuba, Venezuela, and I'm missing a country, Haiti. There we go. Because we don't believe that they should be here. And we're going to actually say, you know, no more, you're not allowed to be here. The Biden administration did something that we consider illegal. And the Supreme Court said, okay. And then in this case, deep state funding. Elon's going to be happy about this one, you know, regardless of the bitter battle that's going on between him and Trump. Got to be happy about this one. You can actually make those cuts. So that's a big deal. It's a very, very, very big deal. And I think that, you know, as we look at this, I do want to point out something that is interesting because once again, the immaturity of one Ketanji Brown Jackson is on display. On display because as you see in this story, Sotomayor is actually breaking with Ketanji Brown Jackson in the decision over Trump's cuts to the federal workforce and federal dollars. I mean, this is really kind of remarkable because remember just about a week ago, you had Amy Coney Barrett like calling her out, like totally slapped her down. It was really sort of embarrassing from an intellectual standpoint because she was like, you know, you really don't know how to do this job. We realize you're the most junior person here, but you know, when you actually have a legal argument, it needs to be crafted in some basis of the law. And she apparently has a very hard time doing that. And so now Sotomayor is kind of calling her out for it. It's pretty kind of wild and crazy, but we're living in wild and crazy times. And I'll tell you, you don't want more Ketanji Brown Jacksons on there that don't have any sort of rooting in any academic approach to the Constitution and to the law, but are just feeling something because you keep feeling something, you're going to go straight down the path towards communism and Mamdani and chaos.